What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. In this episode, we're going to discuss the FX anthology series Fargo and the connections that the series has with the movie, as well as within each season, how they're all connected. Because this is presented as an anthology series. So every season is a self-contained story with its own plot, with new characters, new actors playing those characters, and sometimes in a new setting, sort of, where it's all in Minnesota, in the Fargo area, but it may take place in a different city or town in the nearby area. Okay, obviously there's going to be spoilers ahead for Season 1, spoilers for Season 2, and Fargo the movie. We probably won't talk about Season 3 too much, but who knows? When I get rambling, and I may spoil something from Season 3. So, if you're not up to date, I would X out of here, go catch up, I don't know what's wrong with you, and then come on back and then watch this video. Okay, so before we get into the actual connections, let me just break down the timeline of everything. Season 2, now this is the chronological timeline, so it's not the release order timeline, okay? So Season 2, it takes place in 1978, so that's the first piece of our timeline, 1978. Then the movie, Fargo, takes place in 1987, so that's going to be about 10 years later. And then Fargo Season 1 takes place in 2007, so then you got about 20 years after the movie. And then Season 3 takes place in 2010, so 3 years after Season 1. Okay, now, hopefully that wasn't confusing for you, but some people find that type of thing confusing. Now, we're not going to talk about them chronologically because we're talking about the connections, and it makes more sense to talk about the connections in the order that things were released. Now, of course, there was no connections from the movie with anything because the movie came out first, right? So the first piece of this puzzle that has any connection is Season 1. The biggest connection of Season 1 to the rest of the universe is the money that Oliver Platt's character finds in the flashback. So we find Oliver Platt's character, who's like this supermarket king. He owns a chain of supermarkets. And we see a flashback of how he got the money to start that chain. Now, let's flash back to the Fargo movie for a second. Okay, 1987. Carl Showalter, that's Steve Buscemi, and his partner, I forget the actor and the character's name. A lot of good research I do, right? The pancake guy. We'll just call him that. They get the money from William H. Macy's father-in-law, right? And then Carl Showalter goes off separately and he buries the bulk of the money in the snow and marks it with a red ice scraper. Now, this is money that the partner, the Russian pancake guy, doesn't know about. And then Steve Buscemi's character is killed off. So the only person that knew that this money was buried in the snow, marked with that ice scraper, was Steve Buscemi's character of Carl Showalter. Then flash forward 1 year to 1988. We have Oliver Platt's character. His name escapes me right now. And he's driving on the road. His car runs out of gas. He gets out of his car trying to figure out what he's going to do because it's kind of like the middle of nowhere. Everywhere in Fargo seems to be like the middle of nowhere. And he happens to see a ice scraper stuck in the snow. He goes over. It's the same ice scraper that Steve Buscemi put there. He uncovers the money, sees the money. Now he has enough money to do all these things. So he starts this supermarket empire and becomes this rich multimillionaire. Okay, that's our first major connection. Now, it's minor in the plot of Season 1, but it's still a great connection, and it was a major plot point of the movie, which then carries over. Love it, love it, love it. All right, now Season 1 doesn't have very many other connections to the movie. It has connections to Season 2, which we will get to in a minute. Actually, no. We'll get to that right now. So that's really the only big connection that Season 1 has to the movie. But that's what kicks it all off, right? Then we flash back all the way to 1978. All right. Now, we're going to still talk about season 1 here, okay? So now in season 1, there's a character named Molly Salverson. She's the police officer that we follow throughout the show. Her dad is also in the show, Lou Salverson. He's the older gentleman that owns the diner in season 1. Season 2 is all about Lou's story. So it's a side character, a very small character from season 1, who now is one of the main characters of season 2. Okay? So there we have our first connection from season 2 to the universe. Is one of the main characters, the main police officer character, is the father of the main police officer character from season 1. I hope I'm not confusing you yet. All right. Now, in season 1, we also have the fantastic Billy Bob Thornton as Lorne Malvo. And in the course of the plot unfolding in season 1, Lorne Malvo goes to this crime syndicate that basically kind of put a hit out on him, or he thinks they did at least. He goes to that crime syndicate, and it appears that he takes out the whole organization in the building. Now, that same criminal organization plays a big part in season 2. Season 2's main plot line is about 2 warring crime families. And one of them is the Kansas City Syndicate. And that's the crime family that Lorne Malvo destroys, is the KC Crime Syndicate. There's another beautiful connection between seasons 1 and 2. Now there's another really, really good one that a lot of people didn't pick up on. In season 1, the leader of that KC Syndicate that puts the hit out on Lorne Malvo, who we think got killed in that building, is Tripoli. That's his name. I forgot his first name, but his last name is Tripoli. So we'll just call him Mr. Tripoli. And 2 guys that work for him are Mr. Numbers and Mr. Wrench. This is the deaf guy and the guy that rolls with him, the talker. He seems like a smart guy that are in season 1. They go up against Malvo. They go after Lester. They're the 2 hitmen. You know, all the Fargo always has like the 2 hitmen, right? We'll get to that later. Well, there you go. All right. So those guys and Mr. Tripoli appear in season 2. At the very end, the last episode. Let me tell you where, because it's not so obvious. So at the very end of season 2, we have Hansi, the Native American who now is like the sole survivor of this war besides Lou. And he decides he's going to get plastic surgery and change his identity and somehow infiltrate the KC organization. When he gets his secret identity, it says whatever the first name is and the last name is Tripoli. So Hansi got a face change, an identity change, somehow ended up taking over the KC Syndicate, probably worked his way up the ranks or something like that, and became the boss. Mr. Tripoli, who we think Lorne Malvo killed in season 1. Another connection. Is your head spinning yet? Now, this brings me to Mr. Numbers and Mr. Wrench. And in that scene, after Hansi gets his new identity, or should I call him Tripoli, gets his new identity, there's some kids getting bullied in a playground nearby. One of the kids is deaf. The other kid is a talker. This is obviously Mr. Numbers and Mr. Wrench. Tripoli goes after the bully. We don't know what happened after Hansi Tripoli goes after the bully, but we can imagine he kicks his ass or kills him. Probably kills him, but in the very least kicks his ass. And I guess he takes those 2 kids under his wing, Mr. Numbers and Mr. Wrench, and they become his go-to hitmen. Love it, love it, love it. And then we also have one of the police officers that work with Lou on this case from season 2 is one of the police captains, the chiefs, in season 1. He's older, different actor playing him and everything. But they have the same name, and if you look it up on the connections on IMDb, they are the same character. The name escapes me right now. I know I could have done this better, but there'll be more of these to follow. So we'll get better as we go, I guess, right? And that's pretty much it as far as season two's connections to the Fargo season 1 and the movie. There's really no connections to the movie other than we think that Carl Showalter and the Russian pancake guy may have worked for the same syndicate, the KC syndicate, that Tripoli was at that time in charge of. So those two guys very well could have been working for Mr. Tripoli. But we don't know that for sure. Let's see. And I think that's it for now. I'm sure I'm missing some stuff as far as the actual connections go. The threads, the story threads that connect it all. I think I got them all, but like I said, I'll do another one of these videos after season 3 is over, and I'm sure there'll be more, right? There's one for season 3 that I'm going to put out there. So they mentioned just in the last episode a character that's from the movie, Stan Grossman, who is William H. Macy's character's father-in-law, you know, like the asshole parking lot guy. That's his right-hand man, Stan Grossman. And he's in the parking lot business. The Stussies, who are the ones that mentioned Stan Grossman from season 3, the one brother is actually the parking lot king. So there's a connection there also. So there you have it. Tons of connections, tons of connective tissue and story threads that go through season 2, season 2, the movie, season 1, and then to season 3. Hopefully there'll even be more. The next episode of season 3, I think we're going to get another connection because they're saying something about the 70s. And that's where season 2 was, right? So, all right, now I just want to touch on the homages real quick. Now, Fargo, not only does it have all these connective tissues, but it has tons of character nods and homages to the Coen Brothers movies and other movies too, but we're going to focus on the Coen Brothers for now, okay? So you have, let's just throw out some characters that have similarities, right? You have Lester Nygaard, who's very similar, not a carbon copy. None of these are carbon copies. They're just similar. They just have certain traits and characteristics that make them similar. So Lester and William H. Macy's character from Fargo. And then you have Lorne Malvo and Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. You have the two guys with the conspiracy theories from season 2 remind me very much of Walter and Donnie from The Big Lebowski. And let's see, what else? Then you have the Kitchen Brothers, who, well, we have all the pairs. The pair of thugs that are in the Fargo universe. So you have the Kitchen Brothers. You got Mr. Wrench and Mr. Numbers. You have Yuri and the Asian dude from season 3 now. And then you had Carl Showalter and the pancake guy from the movie. So this is a common thing that happens. And Lester and William H. Macy are both that unsuspecting character that gets entangled in the world of crime. And then, you know, you have a women police officer most of the time. Season 2 does not have this, but season 1, season 3, and the movie all have a woman police officer in charge of the investigation. In all of these, we follow not only the good guys, the cop, as well as the unsuspecting innocent person, but we also follow the criminals through this, and everyone is kind of quirky and interesting. You know, all of these things are homages to the movie. You have tons of scenes that look like they're ripped right out of No Country for Old Men. So just a list of some of the movies we have. No Country for Old Men, there's homages to that. Fargo. I see some Blood Simple stuff. I'm not sure yet, but I think season 3 is going to have some Blood Simple stuff. I see some Big Lebowski. I see some Lady Killers. I see, what else? Oh, the movie about the spies. I forgot what that one is called, with Brad Pitt. But my point is if when you watch this show and you have in mind that they pay homage to the Coen Brothers, there's even shades of Quentin Tarantino in here and Oliver Stone. If you really pay attention, it's all there, I'm telling you. So you go back and watch if you've seen them all. and go back to all the seasons and watch carefully, and you'll see homages and scenes that replicate Coen Brothers, and characters that replicate Coen Brothers, and names that appear in other Coen Brothers. So you can clearly see that Noah Hawley, the showrunner, has a love for not only the Coen Brothers and not only their movies, but also this type of genre of like the quirky crime stuff, the dark humor and darkness of the criminal world, but also the funny side of it. I don't know. If you're a fan of Quentin Tarantino and movies like the Coen Brothers movies, I can't see you not liking Fargo. So, but this video is all about the connections. There will be more to come. I know it was a little all over and choppy, but I didn't write any of this down. This was just on my head, spewing it out. So I'll probably do another more focused connections video where I actually write things down and follow a better format. So I hope I didn't make your head spin too much. Sound off down below. Let me know what you think about these Fargo connections and any connections that I may have missed that you picked up, or any homages or anything you want to discuss having to do with the Fargo movie, show, and the connections. Sound off down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Show the channel some love and help us grow. And thanks again for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. That's it for this one. I will see you guys next time.